Welcome to Address's training video on using STEM in Millicad. The main command is add STEM unit, which can be found in the generic section of the ribbon. From this dialog you specify all the items that you want to make up a unit. The front and back panels will show, to scale and in the right colour, the elevation of the unit as you build it up, and this is where you will click with your mouse to indicate where you would like an item to go. This area is where you will find all the available items on the various tabbed pages. On the first page we find the various settings which apply to the unit as a whole, including whether the unit is standard or stack-on, which means there will be a 500mm deep, 708mm high base unit with a 400mm deep stack-on section on top. The width of the unit, the depth of the unit, and the height of the unit. Note that the front and back elevations display dotted grey lines at each of the standard heights up to the height selected. These lines define the modules which are the basic unit of height. The height of every item is defined by how many of these modules it covers. Many items such as doors and back panels are described, height-wise, as either full height, intermediate height or crossover height. Full height means the item starts at the very bottom of the unit. Intermediate height means the item is completely above 708mm work surface height. Crossover height means the item starts 354mm above the floor, but extends above 708mm work surface height. The reason for this distinction is because the lower two modules are a slightly different height than the modules higher up. So a 2-module high door, for example, is a slightly different size depending on whether it is full height, intermediate or crossover. For this reason, some items are only available in certain positions. But don't worry, Millicad will make sure you can't specify something in the wrong place and will specify the correct height type depending on where you click. You can also choose whether or not to have base covers, cable access in the side panels and pull-out filing in the base. You can click on the Clear Unit button to empty the unit and start again. Now let's look at each of the other tabbed pages. We've written the program so that you can add items in any order, but we recommend that you divide the unit into spaces with shelves and centre panels first. Then it is simpler to add other items into one of the spaces. So let's start with shelves. Here you can see the 4 types of shelves and a button for removing shelves. You simply click the button for the type of shelf you want, then click on either the front or back of the elevation where you want the shelf to go. The shelves go at one of the heights indicated by the grey dotted lines, but you don't have to pick exactly on the line. To remove a shelf, click the Remove Shelf button and click on one of the shelves. Now back panels. Here you'll see all the various types of back panel. Now is a good time to talk about finishes. Many of the items that make up a unit, such as the top, base and side panels, centre panels and shelves, will be in the finish of the defaults that you specify when you set up your colour scheme. For most of the doors and back panels you can choose the finish of each individual item via our Finish buttons. This Finish button is for full height back panels. When you click on a Finish button, you'll see the list of the possible finish options. The finish that you selected as the default in your colour scheme will initially be selected, but you can select another finish and then the next back panel that you add will be in that finish. Back panels which are not full height are also available in fabric, so there is a second Finish button for those. You'll need to be careful to use the correct Finish button depending on where you want to put the back panel. If you select a fabric, you can then choose a colour of that fabric. The normal back panels can be added anywhere on the height of a unit. They can go behind a shelf. They don't have to end where there is a shelf. So for example, in our configuration, you could cover the whole unit with one back panel 4 modules high, or you could tile the unit with 4 back panels, each 1 module high and different finishes. So generally for back panels you have to click twice, once where the panel starts and once where it ends. Note that the caption at the top tells us to click the position for the top or bottom of the panel, so I'll click in the bottom module of the back. Now the caption tells us to click the position for the other end of the panel, and as I move the mouse up and down, the red rectangle indicates where the panel will go. I want a back panel for the bottom space, so I click in the second module up. To allow stem units to be used in a spine wall arrangement, there are generally no rules to say that back panels have to go on the back or that doors have to go on the front. But once you've added something to a space, it will fix the orientation of that space and prevent you from adding something similar on the other side. So for instance, I could put a back panel higher up on the front. Now I could extend this back panel up or down. But I want a one module panel, so I click in the same place again. Note that the first back panel is metallic silver because it is on the floor and therefore full height, so its finish comes from the first finish button. This back panel is not full height, so its finish comes from the second finish button, which is fabric. Now let's put in a door. Here you can see hinged doors and locker doors, each with their own finish button. With doors, you simply need to click in the space where you want a door. Now centre panels. The program treats centre panels and shelves as dividers which divide a space into smaller spaces. You need to consider the order that you put shelves and centre panels in to get a particular configuration. Let's clear this unit to see some examples. If you put a centre panel in first, shelves you put in afterwards will be half width on one side or the other. If you put a shelf in first, a centre panel you put in afterwards will not be full height. Also, bear in mind that if the unit is 1200 mm wide, and only in that case, two centre panels can be used to split the width into thirds. Let's see an example of that. With 1200 mm wide, if you click close to the middle, the centre panel will be added centrally. Otherwise, click to one side or the other to split the width into thirds. Then if we wanted, we could add a 2/3 wide shelf. And one of these new spaces can have another centre panel. When a divider, either a centre panel or shelf, is removed, you may have to choose whether to keep the arrangement on one side or the other. For example, in this case, if we remove the centre panel, on the left is a door but no back panel, and on the right is a back panel but no door. If we keep one arrangement or the other, it will apply to the whole unit. So let's keep the door on the left. As you can see, this becomes double doors with no back panel. The content of the arrangement also includes any shelves on each side. A similar question may appear when removing shelves with above and below instead of left and right. Because they work slightly differently, let's look at the sliding doors. The mono sliding door runs on grooves on special wooden shelves and must be above 708mm work surface height, so we need to make the unit a little taller. You can't add the special shelves directly, so in fact we can put in any type of shelf. You need to pick between the two shelves. It warns you that the shelves will be changed. As long as the space above the one you pick is not already taken up by something else, you will have the option of a sliding door which is one module taller and extends into the space above. Notice that the shelves now look wooden. If we remove the mono sliding door, the shelves are converted back to normal wooden shelves. Double sliding doors have the under support rail option. When that is not ticked, you could put sliding doors anywhere. With under support rail ticked, the doors have to go in the bottom two modules. And Millicad will put in the support rail and the sliding doors together. The centre dividing kit is a Z-shaped item that divides a space into two so that one half is open to one side of the unit and the other half is open to the other side. From either side, as you look at it, the right-hand half of the space will be open. The centre dividing kit can be used on its own, but it can also be used with a set of double sliding doors. In that case, one door will be used on each side, so that you can slide it across to close the open half. So, if we add a centre dividing kit between our two shelves, it asks us if that's what we want to do. And you can see that one door gets moved to the back. Now let's do a simple arrangement to insert into the drawing. We'll have two shelves. Hinged doors at the bottom. Sliding doors at the top. And a back panel covering the whole of the back. Most of the items that make up this unit will be constructed into a single block that can be inserted into the drawing. The only exception is the worktops. If you position two units of the same height back to back, a larger worktop can be ordered that will cover both. If that's what you want, using a full-size back panel, as we have here, would be wasteful because the two back panels would be facing each other. There is a back-to-back panel for that purpose. The back-to-back panel product actually comes in two halves, and in Millicad one half is included in each unit, so you don't need to remember to specify the back-to-back panel for both units. Now we are ready to insert this unit into the drawing. You can pick the side or the back of an existing unit. Because this is our first unit, I'll press return. Then pick where the unit should go. Now, if we repeat the command, the dialog box starts with the same arrangement, which is what we want, so I can just click OK. And now I'm going to pick the back of the first unit. It's asking us if we would like to use the larger worktop, which we would. If we want to change something about one of the units, there is the Edit Stem Unit command. Let's select the first unit we put in. It uses the same dialog starting with the arrangement of the unit that you pick. One difference is the Undo Changes button. If you change your mind while editing the unit, you can click the Undo Changes button to reset the dialog to the arrangement you started with. In this case, I want to attach a work surface to the unit, so we need a support rail. At the moment, only ABAC Environments work surfaces can attach to the support rails. We simply select the support rail, then click on those lower doors that need to be replaced. And click OK. Now we can add our work surface. Now we can click on the front of our first unit where the support rail is. Then choose the style of leg as you normally would. And the legs will include the clamp which attaches it to the support rail. Thank you for watching Address's training video on using STEM in Millicad.